Welcome everybody to Foundation Friday. This Friday we have a special guest, Sean Antonius from Neo, and he's going to help us learn how to brand yourself to your database on social media for $1 a day. Sean, take it away, bud.
Oh, can you still see that?
Yes.
Okay, I lost the little green box highlight thing. So yeah, so when I started a mortgage, just a real quick kind of a background, I realized really quickly that to differentiate myself with referral partners, especially realtors, I needed something different to say if I remove the things that all lenders say: competitive rates, good customer service, we close on time, I'm always available, right? Like all the things that mortgage like people say. Those aren't differentiators to me. That's the job. That's literally the description of what we do, and that's kind of the minimum. So I decided early on that I was going to figure out ways, go to classes, get trainings, pay for conferences and all that kind of stuff to really hone my skills and learn a whole bunch of different things about how to help my referral partners get more business on their end and add value that way. I don't want to get lost that we're also very good at loans, obviously, or I wouldn't be here. But the flip side is, right, that only goes so far, and that only adds so much value to your guys' business. So I wanted to learn a whole bunch of the little tips and tricks. I've been using social media since the very beginning, and feel like I've always been kind of interested in innovation and tech. So I decided to learn a whole bunch of cool little tips and tricks. So this one's by far my favorite. When I learned this, I started using it myself, and it's a subtle little tweak on advertising, but it's extremely profitable if you measure out the ROI. After doing this for about a month or two myself, I realized that I'm going to do this for the rest of my days for sure in my business, because there's no cheaper way to brand yourself and be in front of your customers, other than obviously like emailing them directly from your database, which we know how that results, right? Anyway, I'm going to get into all that, but I just wanted to preface why I'm really into this. And the crazy thing is, this still feels like a secret. A lot of people don't really know about this. They don't utilize it, and they don't fully understand it. So I'm going to try and make it super simple if I can. Feel free to do the hand raising thing or stop and ask questions if I'm on something. But yeah, I'm not a slide reader. I'm going to read a few of these, but really I'm going to like put them up and then I'm going to talk about them because I get frustrated when I watch people do slides and then they just read the slides. So do we have any questions before I hop into this based on kind of what I just said? Does anybody like already lost or like have questions? Okay. So what your experience with Facebook specifically, and most people know this, but Facebook bought Instagram. So they're essentially one entity on 2 platforms and now 3 platforms with Threads. But if you advertise on one, you basically are advertising on all of them. When you post something on Facebook or Instagram, just a generic organic post, right? I open Facebook, I go to the "what are you thinking about" section, I put a picture up and I write a little something. How many of your friends on your friend list do you think actually see that? Crowd participation moment.
12%.
25.
12, 25, anybody else? Very good. It's small, so you're already erring on the side of, yeah, it's not that many.
63?
It's the true answer is somewhere between 2 and 10%. Okay. And if you maximize, like you do everything right, and you maximize what's called your edge rank, you can cap out at around 15, 16%. If you're crushing it and doing everything right, then you do a post. Literally 15 out of every 100 friends is seeing your post. Not everybody sees your post. And that's a very common misconception about Facebook and Instagram, is like, I post something, all 4,000 of my friends are going to see it. And that's not true. So this is kind of a way to circumvent that. The first thing I want to discuss is, and this is kind of a way to get away from database marketing. You can still do this stuff, right? But the age-old joke about recipe cards and realtors, which it works, by the way. I can tell you a story about my mom, but calendars, right? Branded calendars once a year, and you put it on the fridge. My mom bought a house from a guy named Pat O'Brien. I still remember his name, Prudential in Kent, and never heard a word from him for 10 years. Just got a calendar from him once a year, every single year, and it went on the fridge. And when she went to sell, she called Pat and sold her house. So like that one stupid little calendar did actually work. But this, in today's day and age with technology, this is kind of a way to brand yourself extra, right? Not just direct mail, but using technology, using social media to accomplish those same things for extremely cheap spend. EdgeRank. The first thing that somebody sees when they open Facebook is the news feed. So how does Facebook decide what you see? When you open Facebook, how does Facebook decide what's on your feed? It's using an algorithm predicting what it thinks you'll like, because the number one goal of all of these social media platforms is time on platform. There isn't even a close second. They get paid, they get advertising dollars when they can go to their advertisers and their CEOs and board members, and they can say, look, we have better time on platform than all of these other social media platforms. Their goal is to keep you on that site for as long as possible. The way they do that is they use this algorithm, they call it an edge rank. Every action that your friends take is potential newsfeed story. Facebook calls these edges. So every action creates an edge in this algorithm, and it starts to predict what it thinks you're going to want to see, and vice versa. It predicts what you're posting is your friend's going to want to see. Okay. Anytime a friend posts a status update, a comment, tags a photo, joins a fan page, RSVPs to an event, an edge is generated, and it starts to build almost like a relevance calculator for you as a user. And then it uses that to kind of predict and actually like follow through and what the results are of your reach. Excuse me. Edges are the DNA Facebook uses to determine stories and posts you're most interested in seeing, and it's called an edge rank. It's very similar to SEO when you're talking about organic search engine optimization and Google and Bing and all that kind of stuff. Whoops, back up. Edge ranking scores posts. If it predicts a particular user will find your post boring, then your status update will never be shown to them. Okay. And edge rank is like your credit score, invisible, important, unique to each person, but nobody knows how it's calculated. It's my little mortgage joke of the day. This is what makes up your edge rank, is three main categories. Number one is an affinity score. Two is an edge weight. Three is time decay. Okay. So number one, how connected are you to a particular user within that edge and how it ranks? Okay, so for an example, my wife and I have 414 mutual friends on Facebook. We write on each other's walls, comment on each other's posts, so I have a high affinity score with her edges. So Facebook thinks that I like her, obviously. And so I see more of her posts than somebody else I'm not engaging with, or I don't have a lot of mutual friends with, okay? We'll get to the cool stuff in a minute, but the background is very important. Each category of edges has a different default weight. So they're weighted by what Facebook and Instagram considers the order of importance or order of relevance. Comments are worth more than likes. Photos are higher than that. Videos are higher than that. Live is probably the highest. So the more lives and more videos you do, the more Facebook is bumping up your relevance scores and your edge rank. Okay. And then time decay. As a story gets older, they gradually lose points, edge rank. So, if a story or a video or something gets a day or two or three old and the engagement in that video starts to wane over time, it'll just start showing it to less and less people and your rank will start to go down. I'm going to keep going. see where I'm going to be able to, can someone watch the chat for me and just like interrupt me if somebody asks a question? Okay. A couple things about Facebook and the algorithm and how EdgeRank works. Number one, if anybody says they can check your EdgeRank, that's not true. There is no way to actually quantify it, like an outside vendor or aggregator of some sort, especially lead aggregators, total liars. You can measure the effects of your EdgeRank by seeing how many people. So Facebook tracks metrics. They have analytics that you can see, especially through business pages and ads. You can get it behind the scenes and actually see how many impressions, what's the dollar, cost per click, all that kind of stuff. Too much of the data collected is private, so it's doubtful there will ever be a third-party aggregator who can measure edge ranks. And that's kind of why Facebook keeps ending up in front of Congress, because they keep moving their privacies around and what data they're actually collecting, and it's freaking people out. So 7 tips to improve your edge rank. So these are a couple of tips to organically improve your effectiveness and your reach and your relevance scores. You can get more likes on a Facebook page, and these are fan pages or business pages. Post good content. Content will always be king, especially in SEO if you're trying to improve your organic ranking on Google searches and stuff like that. There is no better way than good content that's not what's the word? Plagiarized. Encourage and respond Facebook page messages. Post visually appealing content, obviously. Post questions and fill in the blanks. So you'll see a lot of, I'll show you a couple examples later, but you'll see a lot of like, what do you guys do on a Sunday? You know, like encouraging people to respond and comment, using only a GIF, using only a emoji, answer this question. And they're trying to encourage interaction and engagement, right? This is all they're doing. All they're doing is improving their edge rank, or trying to. Ask for likes, comments, and shares, run a contest or a competition of some kind, and then plan your posts. So you can also set publish dates and times in the future. Instead of like publish now, you can set them. So I know some people who they'll write 17 posts and they'll get all their videos ready and they'll schedule them out on Sunday, and they'll just be posting all week without actually having to do it live. So that's a way to do it, to make sure like the sequencing and it's spread out. Here's an example. Contests like this is one of my favorite bands. They everybody, you've seen a ton of people do this, but the whole point is to create engagement, create follows, comment, tag 3 friends, and then you're entered to win blah blah blah, right? This is one I did like 2 years ago. Write a band name using only emojis and let others guess the answer. And this was 2 days. I got 400 some comments, just band names. I figured this one out last time. It was Foghat. I don't remember what he was trying to get at here, but anyway, this stuff works. Back to that first slide, to increase your 2 to 10% up to 16%. That's really all you're doing here. After a day to 2 days, it's kind of gone and off of the frontal lobe of Facebook's algorithm. Okay. Using custom audiences is how you skip all of that. Okay. So that was like the bad news. If you do all this stuff, maximize your reach, you're going to get this. If you figure out custom audiences, this is how you skip all of it. And you get 100% of your database 100% of the time. And it's very cheap. So number one, you guys all have databases, right? You have some sort of CRM. I think maybe John L. Scott has one that's kind of like proprietary and internal, and you guys either use that or you use LionDesk or Follow Up Boss or any number of other ones, right? They all have, and if you don't do that, your database is probably sitting on an Excel spreadsheet. I would encourage you to get a CRM. And if, I'm sure your leadership has classes on that. If you need help with that, I'm happy to help too. Get your database out of your CRM. Every CRM has an export feature somehow, some way. They will export all of the information out of your CRM. If you have 500 or 1,000 or 10,000 contacts in there, and it will put it into a CSV file, which is a version of an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. The thing that Facebook wants is first name, last name, phone number, email. That will maximize Facebook finding all of your people. If you are missing one of those, it usually still finds them. If you're missing phone number, email works. If you're missing email, sometimes phone number works. Okay. Step one, though, get your database out of your CRM, get it into a CSV, and 4 columns: first name, last name, and I'll show. Actually, have one. It's as simple as this.
Are you going to share your database with us?
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I'm taking a picture, so don't worry.
there you go.
Hey, there's my database.
There's Joe's name right here.
It's got 37 new people.
Nice.
So like this particular one, before I switched CRMs, I offloaded it, kind of formatted it, and there's 640 people on here. Past clients, people I know. And that was the know, like, trust, the KLT gold mine. So these are people who already know you, like you, and trust you, right? Take that CSV and upload it as an audience to Facebook. And by default, Instagram, Threads, however many platforms you want to advertise on. Okay, what happened? Here we go. Oh boy. There we go. You got your audience. Now you create your ad. I have a whole bunch of examples on this, but for me, this isn't call to action stuff. I'm not trying to create new clients. These are people who already know me. So for me, this is a branding play. This is strictly, somebody mentioned earlier this week, the reticular activating system. That's the part in your frontal lobe that categorizes names and associates it with what you do, or like immediate recall, right? So like if you're at a dinner party and somebody mentions real estate over there, and somebody else was like, oh, real estate Joe, your reticular activating system typically has room for one name that it immediately recalls, sometimes 2 if you're super smart, but usually 1. The whole point is you want to be that name, right? As soon as anybody mentions real estate or mortgage in a conversation, or their neighbor talks about it, or their mom talks about it, you want their brain to immediately think Kelly Nutt, and that's it, right? Like that's what this is for me, is branding. I'm constantly just wanting to remind people Sean mortgage, and that's all. Okay. And then you launch your ad and you watch. A lot of ads that use Facebook targeting to create your audience are much more expensive, and they have higher minimums, typically $2 to $5 a day. This, because you're providing the audience for Facebook and you're not actually asking Facebook to find audience for you, you're telling them who the audience is. You can literally do this for a minimum of $1 a day. When I did this as a real life example in a case study, I think I had maybe 800 people. I was doing it for about 6 months, and I was changing the ad about once a month. And I was getting a few thousand impressions a month, which means each person was getting hit with that ad, that reminder that Sean does mortgages, about 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a month. And what would happen at Industrious or church or the grocery store or wherever, I would constantly get people coming up to me saying, dude, I'm seeing your stuff everywhere. How are you, like, you must be dropping 10 grand a month on marketing and advertising. And what they didn't realize, and people still don't realize, I'm not. I'm literally following that one single person everywhere they go on the internet, and I'm putting my face in front of them. You don't tell them that, but they think you're crushing it. So this is a couple of different screenshots for how to export, but everyone's different. There's always an export feature in almost every single CRM. Salesforce is the worst one to get your stuff out of. If you use Salesforce, you have to build a report, and it's the absolute worst. Most CRMs are very simple. A couple notes. Number one, it has to be a CSV or a text file. It won't take any other file types. So that's a good thing to note. And then, like I mentioned before, name, email, and phone number. Then you want to go here. So as you open up Facebook, and I use a lot of ads, so I just bookmark this page so I don't have to open Facebook and find it. I'm going to show you when I'm done with the slide deck. I'm going to show you. I'm going to actually build one live, so you can watch me do it real quick. These are all the screenshots on all the different pages, but we're going to do this live. So once you're in Ads Manager, click here. It looks like this. You go to your audiences, create an audience. And I'm going to show you all this. And then this is where most people get tripped up. These are all the different sources that you can create an audience from. This is the one specific one that we're talking about today, is my customer list that I'm going to upload to Facebook and say, this is my audience. And then customer value, I'll show you this when we get to it, but I don't do this. I don't attach a number value to the clients, because then it's too time consuming for me. This is where you upload. This is the next page. And then the next page, you have to map the fields. So it's going to see your upload, and it's going to see your 4 columns, and it's going to say, what is this? It'll usually map email. It recognizes those are emails, but you have to tell it, this is first name, this is last name, this is phone number. And I'll show you that in just a second. We're going to create the ad. So this is the next step. We've now created the audience. Now I'm going to create the ad. Number one, if you've never done this before, this will be an automatic reject if you don't check this box and tell Facebook that you're in the housing industry for fair housing and all that. Again, back to the whole, they're in front of Congress all the time. So any ads that are related to housing whatsoever, they'll reject it and not run it if you don't check this box and tell them that you're in housing. Okay. These are all the different things you can do. This screen looks a little bit different. When I get into it, I'll show you, but all of these titles are the same. So brand awareness, reach, traffic, engagement, app installs. So basically you're going to run the ad type based on what your objective is. If I want the most people to watch the video, or I just want the most reach, I want to actually redirect somebody to go to a website, right? I'm going to change the ad type to accomplish that goal. Okay. And these are a bunch of different ideas that I came up with. Do you want to start chats and IMs? Do you want page likes? Do you want new reviews? Do you want website traffic? You want to redirect them to a website of some kind? Do you want to promote an event? Do you want app installs, market updates or videos, all that kind of stuff? You can pick the objective. This is where you're going to tell it how to target who you want that ad to see. We've created the audience, so we're going to tell it, hey, this is the audience I want you to show it to. And when you start typing in the title that you made, it'll populate right here. And I have probably a few dozen custom audiences at this point. You can create them however you want to. A couple more notes. Number one, you have to have at least 20 people or it won't run the ad. Okay. You get better results with no end date. It'll always ask you, when do you want to start? And then when do you want to end it? I never put an end date on there. If I want to end it, I just go back into Ads Manager and I turn it off. But if you put an end date, then Facebook sees that this person isn't as committed. So you get better results if you don't put end dates. And for me, like I just said, this is branding. So I don't put sales funnel or calls to action. At most, I might say shoot me a DM and that's it. But even that, I'm really not trying to get them to do anything. I'm just Sean Mortgage. That's all I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to skip to this. I'm going to leave that up until later. And then I'm going to switch screens to this. You guys see my Facebook page? Okay. So if you have never played an ads manager, once you get into it, it's extremely confusing. On the left here, there's a link to it. There's several other ways to get to it too. I come here so often that I bookmarked it and I just kind of click here when I need this. But if you go to your Facebook page and you click Ads Manager, you should pop into a screen that looks like this. Here's the crazy thing about workshopping this on a Zoom versus live is I can't walk around and actually help you guys when you get stuck. But depending on how seasoned your business page is, or if you've never done this before, or you've never set up a business account, you've never uploaded a credit card so it knows payment details and all that stuff, some of these screens may look different for you if you walk through this. Okay, so here's my kind of overarching umbrella of all the catch-all of anything you could possibly see. If you get screwed up or stuck on this, let me know. I'm happy to get on a Zoom with you one-on-one for 30 minutes or an hour and walk you through this. Also, I will say there is such thing as a Facebook jail. And if you don't have a seasoned business page, you're not posting to it, maybe it's really new and you just made it, maybe you've never made one and we're gonna make it as part of this process, it'll gray out the customer list option for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks until it sees that you're following the rules. And then it'll let you do this. So that's another thing I've run into before is if you're super new to this, it may not even be an option for a little while until you start showing Facebook that you're a rule follower. But if you can see my screen, and this does end up looking like your screen, back to what I was doing and showing you the screenshots on the slides. This little 3 lines here is your menu, and then I would go here first to create my audience. Okay. There's a couple different ways you can do this, but right now we're talking about custom audiences. Another really cool use of this is if you have enough custom audiences and you start to see really good traction with that, you can then use that audience to have Facebook create a lookalike audience for you, which is like basically it profiles these people and then it goes and finds more people like them that you don't know. And you can add and cheaply audience to those people as well. It's really cool. For now, though, create a custom audience. We're clicking that, and then here's the customer list. There are all sorts of other ways to create a custom audience. Some really clever ones. If you have a video up, and I call this the Cerberus guard dog. Cerberus was the 3-headed dog that guarded the gates of hell and never let anybody back out in Greek mythology. I've created webs of videos where if you get stuck in my web, you're never getting out of it. So like a tier of 3 videos, you watch one of those for at least 7 seconds. Now you're in the second tier, and now there's 12 videos that are based on the ones you watched, and now you're in that audience because you watched this one, and it could keep going for multiple tiers, and it gets really, really crazy. That's what this is. You can literally create audiences based on people who watched a different video. They become an audience, and now they're an audience for something else. Did you visit a website? Maybe you didn't fill something out. This is how Amazon does the retargeting, right? Or, I mean, every website does it now, but say you go to Amazon and you're looking at barbecues, but you don't buy one. And then you go back on Facebook and all of a sudden there's an ad from Amazon that says, hey, there's 5 more barbecues you missed. Like, it can put you in an audience based on just you landing on a website. There's all sorts of different uses of this. Anyways, off topic, customer list. Next. Oh, I back up. I am on the wrong account. Did not like that. Let me start over. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm following along and kind of going through it. If you don't have your payment added.
Yeah. So right here, I needed to switch this. I have multiple ad accounts and I was on the wrong one. I need to switch to this one. This is getting in the weeds, but most people who aren't like crazy users of the ad accounts have one account. So this won't trip you up. Okay, I'm gonna start over. Back here, back to audiences. There's a lot of custom audiences I've already done. Create custom audience, customer list. All these screens are starting to look familiar. And then here's where we go. So this is the prep screen. It's like making sure you know, like, hey, you need all of this stuff in your audience you're about to upload. So if you want formatting guidelines or even a file template to like put your data into, you can use this page to help you out. This is the thing where I don't do, but you can rank your customers like on a scale of 1 to 3 or 1 to 10 or something. And Facebook will assign a value to them. And maybe it'll start showing your ads more to the ones. I don't do any of this. I want it to just carpet bomb all of them. And then here's where I'll upload your list. Right, so just grab this, drag and drop it right there. Change the name. You want to name it so you can track them when you have a whole bunch of these in a list. This is May 2023's database download, right? As June, July, and August start to happen, and I've added maybe 50 people in there in the last 5 months, I want to do a new export, new download, make sure I'm putting those 50 people in my custom audience and refreshing the ad. Okay, here's the mapping. So again, I put 4 columns in that CSV file, right? First name, last name, phone number, email. I need to map them to Facebook's fields, okay? It picked up email, but there's 3 it didn't pick up right here. So I'm going to switch to this, and I'm going to tell it these are phone numbers. These are first names. And these are last names. So now it moved everything over to, okay, it mapped all 4 of my columns. I'm good to go. Import and create. So now it's creating the audience. Your customer list is hashed and uploaded 642 rows. And then when you go back, I hit done and I go back to this. It's now, see this right here? It's now going and populating this list. It's going and actually physically finding all of these people one by one. Facebook users, Instagram users. And then I'm going to go make my ad. We are 10:42. We can do this. Back to Ads Manager. If you've never done this before, this is how I think of it. There's kind of 3 tiers to this, and the green create button will pop up here right there. Campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And when you hit this create button, you're going to go through all 3 of those tiers. The campaign is the bigger one. This is like your objective and kind of hierarchy or bigger picture type settings. The ad sets, when you get to this is your audiences targeting. And then the ad itself is what's the ad going to say, look like, what's the media, what's the ad copy, what are you going to write? And then, you know, if it's a Facebook, if it's a redirect and I want them to land on a website, I need to put the web address in there, all that kind of stuff. So you kind of do this first, then this, then this, then you publish. Okay. So I'm going to hit create. I'm going to choose my objective for this one. See, the screen's a little different than the screenshot, but awareness holds on the bottom right there. It says reach, brand awareness, video views. So if any of those are your objectives, you're going to pick this. That's what I think these are for, is just straight up branding. I don't want them to leave Facebook. I don't want them to go to a different website. Campaign name, I might just be like custom audience July. These will get stale. So what my best practice and what I do in my business is once a month I'll go do this. I'll re-upload any new contacts in there, new list, and then I'll change the ad a little bit. Right? It could be as simple as a picture of your face and a joke like the Shane Company. You have a friend in the real estate business, and that's it. That's all you're doing is branding. Or it could be a video. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you see all my little talking head videos where I'm doing knowledge for 30 seconds or 60 seconds. You can use one of those. There's all sorts of different ads you can run, but keep them fresh. Once a month, once every other month, go change it because people will start to get sick of it. Special ads category. This is the thing I said you have to check housing or it will reject it, not even run the ad. And then the rest of this I leave, and then I'm going to audiences. So now it's going to drop me down here to ad sets. Maximize reach of ads is my goal, or maximize number of impressions. these bunch of different kind of goals. What page do you want it to come from? I have 12 pages that I run. And I can give you the why behind all of this, but I have several area specific, unbranded, doesn't say anything about Sean real estate pages. So I can run ads from here and not have them think it's coming from a mortgage lender. There's a whole different strategy behind that. Anyway, for these, I want this to come to my Antonius team or from my Antonius team. So let me back up for a second and make sure you know, if you don't have a business page or a fan page, you can't run ads from a personal page. Okay. If my just Sean page, there's no ads manager for that. You have to have a business page of some kind. So if you don't, that's like step 0. You got to do that first, season it. I'm happy to help you with that. Coming down, daily budget. I'm going to drop this to $1 and see what it did to the reach over here. As you change the amount of money you want to pay on a daily basis, it tells you what it's going to do to your reach. I don't need this to hit 3,000 to 9,000 people a day. I only put 650 people in there in the first place. So for a database that's probably like 1,000 to 2,000 people, $1 a day is all you need. If you have several thousand people, push it to $2 a day, right? Not a big deal, $60 a month. But this is what's likely going to happen. So maybe these people are getting hit it every other day or 3 times a week at this point. Start date here, no end date. Remember I said don't put an end date, just leave that blank. And then here's where I'm going to pull up my audience. So these are all the different custom audiences that I have. I'm not asking Facebook to create targeting or find people for me. I'm telling Facebook who I want these ads to go to. That's how you keep it really, really cheap. Placement, keep all, okay. So I got my audience set, I got my reach set, I uploaded my custom audience. Now I make the ad. Populates previews over here. So like I said, and I want to match this up with an Instagram account too, because I want it to run on Instagram. I might do single image or video. I might put one of my videos in here, one of my little talking head videos, or I might just put a photo in here. Here's where you change the actual, what it's showing. So if I want to edit the media, you have to upload pictures or videos in here. I might just do, I mean, here's one of my housing videos. I could use that. I could use a graphic, just an infographic that doesn't have anything to do with me. Here's a picture of my family. Here's a picture of a house. You can run ads for homes. Maybe just my face and do the Shane Company thing, because I think that's funny. Change the cropping if it's going to look different on weird places, and then it shows your preview over here. And then the other thing I want to change is the writing, the text right here. So as you change this, it'll update the preview here. And it's showing you, how is this going to show up in stories, reels? I mean, it'll put this ad everywhere. It'll even follow them off Facebook and Instagram and deals that they have with like banner ads on websites. I've had people send me screenshots. They were shopping on like lululemon.com or something, and my face showed up on the right hand side of the website. Like, it'll follow them everywhere on the internet for $1 a day. And that's pretty much it. When you change the objective, there'll be some more options here. Like if you're going to switch them to a website and redirect them, it'll need the URL and stuff like that. But this one's very simple. And then you just hit publish. 5 to 10 minutes later, it's running this ad. And you can get into your ads manager. You can start watching the analytics. How many impressions are you getting? How much is it costing per impression? 2 cents per impression, maybe something like that. And that's pretty much, that's a really fast way to do it. Again, if we were in person, I would slam through that presentation in about 30, 40 minutes, and then we'd workshop it. Like I'd have you guys pull up your Facebooks, pull up your business pages, and I'd help you like do your first one. If you want to do that individually, just hit me up. These are all my links right here.
Well, you know, Sean, if somebody wants to take advantage of that, like I had mentioned before, you're welcome to come in and use office space and
100%.
post something like that. So if there's an interest here with the group, let us know.
Yeah, we can turn this into a workshop. I'll set a time and a place, and I'll just be there for 2 hours. Bring your computer, bring a listing that you have, bring whatever, and I'll help you make this. So it's not as bad once you do it once or twice. The first time you've ever done this, it's like reading Chinese, and it's really bizarre working your way through that ads manager. But once you do it once or twice, it's not that bad. So questions, comments, please, for Mercy.
I had a question. So you said you don't set an end date. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And so so that ad just continually runs and then continually bills you.
Yep. Yep. It'll bill you typically. I mean, you can set your billing preferences, but usually once every other week, once a week, once every other week, or once a month, it'll just hit your card for $30.
Well, and Sean, as it stales, it'll just Facebook will stop delivering it. So
Probably.
it will
Yeah,
trickle down to pretty much nothing. But so,
and I don't want it to get stale too, because my list, I don't have like, I'm not uploading a list of 20,000 people. It's 1,000 people roughly. So like, I don't want it to stale and annoy people. So I'm going in and changing it every month anyway. If after 2 weeks you're good, you can always pop right into your ads manager and just one click and it turns it off, and it'll stop running it, stop billing you.
Right.
So, but I just know everybody I follow and people I've taken classes from, and my own personal experience, you get better results and better traction, more impressions if you don't put an end date. It changes how Facebook kind of results you.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, why not just set an end date? Right. But
I will do other ads where I'm like a single property site or a single property house, right? One of my realtor partners has a listing. They want me to get buyer leads. I'll run an ad for that. That's a full-on call to action, Facebook lead form, all that stuff. And I'll run it for 7 days and it'll shut off.
yeah. Okay.
Because I'm running that for like $50 a day.
Yeah.
And I don't want to accidentally like forget about it. And 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh yeah, there's $200 I forgot about, you know.
Yeah.
But what I had to take a call, so I missed a small part. But what I heard when you were talking about this was for our business pages. Do you have any tips on maximizing our audience for our personal page?
Yes, correct. So that, thank you. Oh, okay. So all of that edge rank stuff in the beginning, it applies to both, right? It applies to your personal page and your business page. So whatever you're trying to organically post on and promote, you're not reaching as many people as you think.
Right.
Until Facebook picks it up and thinks, man, this is good. Right. I'll post, or all of my videos that I post, the talking head ones on Instagram, and they go to Facebook, they're all organic. I don't do any paid ads for that. So I'll get a couple hundred, maybe if it's really good, a couple thousand. But once Facebook specifically on one of them, it got shared a couple times, and then it got shared a couple more times, and then it got a couple of comments, and it didn't take off right away. But 2 weeks later, after I posted one of those, it went totally viral. And to date, I have like over 3 million views on this one particular reel. And I have 36,000 followers on Facebook now because of this one reel. But it didn't happen right away. The algorithm needed to pick it up to start seeing that people were sharing it and engaging with it and liking it and commenting. And then it was like, okay, people like this. I'm going to start showing it to a lot more people now. But it took a minute for that to happen.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, there's over 1,000 comments on that one video and dozens of DMs. I've gotten 5 loans from it, just from that one stupid video.
That's awesome.
So, I mean,
Can you
that,
put my face on it?
I don't think it had anything to do with my face.
Oh, Ashley says she'd love to do a workshop and do this. So yeah, we'll get this out. I'm sure a few other people will take advantage of your time.
I can also, what is this? There we go. Let's stop sharing. Cool.